Trebuchets are definitely an underappreciated element of Bretonnia's arsenal, although Bretonnia mains will definitely know that they're a nice tool in certain matchups, especially when you're expecting elite infantry with some, recent buffs here, like Phoenix Guard getting immune to psychology baseline. Elite infantry are definitely on the table, especially elite halberds. There is some talk being thrown around it now as well in certain circles, some balanced discussions happening about possibly giving elite infantry some buffs, whether that be missile magic resistance, maybe some impact damage resistance against like monsters. We'll have to wait and see. But just smashing them with shooting, artillery especially, will prove to be effective, I think, even given some of the changes that are proposed. It basically always has been, right? Even going back to, like, I'm picturing myself playing Rome 2. It's Arizona, and it's, what, like 2015. I'm watching Arab Carthage while shelling the Gauls with some giant onagers. Anyway, different time, but nonetheless, anti-infantry artillery definitely going to prove pretty effective against Michael's Phoenix Guard here. He's got a few of them. We got some spearmen here, Sisters of Avalorn as well, and Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower as well. Looks like some Illyrian Reavers in the vanguard there. In the far corner, they're going to have a tough time getting through to the trebuchets themselves. Nice defensive formation here. We've got peasant mobs just as roadblocks in the back. Peasant bowmen here, and then a front line of men-at-arms with Grail Knights. Some elites here. One questing knight as well, and then Lewin currently running some harassment. But the trebuchets are making some pain here. Definitely getting some damage in. The Eagle Claws right now focusing on scattershotting these peasant bowmen, which I definitely think here, given sort of a win condition perspective, right? There's a few things you could shoot at. Definitely shooting the Grail Knights, trying to pick off models would be very good considering their value, but their mobility and some of the like trees and stuff might make that a little bit of a trickier prospect. Going single shot and getting on these field trebuchets, though, you could probably take out a few of their unit models. That is one downside of trebuchets. Similar to Skaven artillery, they have quite a large profile and are pretty easy to hit for enemy missiles. Yeah, you can see just as I say that, a few Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower shots do fly in, and once you destroy the artillery models themselves, they can't be repaired, and the artillery is basically completely ineffective. So yeah, just being able to preserve some of these elite infantry here, even though there are potentially more expensive and alluring targets, even just, you know, taking out these archers, also not terrible. Phoenix Guard don't have shields after all, and even though they do have armor and physical resistance, still don't want them to be focus fired by a bunch of peasant archers. But Regrowth here, trying to shrug off some of the damage of the questing knights. They'd straight in range of those Sisters of Avalorn. You also got the Fireborn here, Tyrion leading the way, a Life Mage, so pretty elite, small high elf build. But yeah, significantly outnumbered here, more than 2-to-1 by the Bretonnians. But let's fast forward a little bit through this skirmish phase as the artillery contends. Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is going to continue shooting here, but let's see. So far, they are kind of towards the max range, so, oh, there's one artillery model down. And it looks like both the field trebuchets now focusing on returning fire onto the crew there. The one thing about Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, although they're not very strong, they are very small. You can see here the tiny unit models, although considering they're in an artillery fight, I would probably move these Phoenix Guard off, although, you know, King Lewin kind of lurking here, maybe trying to dive. Understandable that you'd want to keep something. Grail Knights as well, definitely a worthy opponent for these Phoenix Guards. So yeah, Tyrion's going to charge over, get some support there. That Lion Shield was able to shrug off quite a bit of damage on Lewin as he made a little flyby there. And the Sisters of Avalorn using some arrows to take out these peasant bowmen. Yeah, it looks like 2 artillery models down now for that trebuchet. But still has gotten quite a bit of value. Yeah, let's check in here. This one's up to about 750, so basically paid for itself already. The other one in a similar position. But yeah, the Damsel charges in, is going to kind of disrupt the formation, but then just take massive damage from the Phoenix Guard. They also got a weapon strength buff, I want to say, recently. I want to say they had below, like, 30 weapon strength before. 36 now is not too bad. Whoops. Still not as good as Blackguard, but still. Dark Elves Elite Halberds don't have access to healing, which that's a discussion for another day. I'm actually starting to think that Dark Elves should get everything that they had in tabletop, which is including access to certain common lores like life and light, I believe. I'd have to double check with that, but anyway. Tyrion getting a nice Sunfang here, just absolutely wrecks those peasant bowmen and is able to move on. The Evil Claw Bolt Thrower here does take some serious damage from those Grail Knights. Grail Knights take some damage in return from the Phoenix Guard, but yeah, only one Trebuchet remaining there. The other unit still has all their unit models and quite a bit of ammunition left. And here, Lewin charges down. He's going to get some hits in on the Fireborn, some nice splash damage, double Knights as well. The Grail Knights taking massive damage from the supporting fire, but ultimately Bretonnia able to win the cavalry fight here as the Fireborn are routed away. Questing Knights paid for it, as did the Grail Knights, but King Lewin, basically the two armies just killed each other, but then you have these other Grail Knights coming through, getting on the Sisters of Averlorn, the Spearmen, because they're so few in number, having a hard time protecting here. But Lewin also very formidable combatant. I don't think, does he actually have perfect vigor? He does not have perfect vigor, which is something that the Grail tier units do have. If he did, he'd be insanely strong. But obviously the Grail Knights do have it, so as they continue to get healed and as the game goes on, these other units going to get more and more tired. That will impact them. But both the Trebuchets, the remaining units at least, sitting in a nice defensive position, just continuing to rain fire, or rocks at least, on these Phoenix Guard. Nice Earthblood heal on them, trying to sustain, get some of those hit points back. Nice charge. I mean, it bowls over the Phoenix Guard, but they hardly take any damage. He is, can they actually stand up and get some of their flashy Elven Halberd attacks on these Grail Knights as they pull away? Yeah, we'll see. They did get a few models stuck up there at least, so they're getting some attacks in. But the issue here is just having Bretonnia still have a lot of range. I mean, there's one peasant bowman that just has been forgotten about behind the farmhouse, which, to be honest, they're completely fine with. But be tough. We shall see. Tyrion, obviously, still a pretty formidable combatant. And we see a really nice regrowth there, refreshing the vigor of these Phoenix Guards. They can continue to contend against the Grail Knights. It's just an issue trying to slog through all these peasants and, you know, all the chaff and everything. A lot of kind of low offense, more anti-large specific units, right? A lot of anti-large units in general just have kind of low melee attack, so slower attack animations as well. So they do take a long time to get through these more chaff units, even if they necessarily trade cost effectively. Let's see here. Yeah, Tyrion continuing to pursue, though. His fast speed makes him a good potential target to pick off a couple more models of these Grail Knights as they're chasing. He doesn't want to get himself into too bad of a position, though. Lewin looking like he wants to take a one-on-one engagement here. That Sunfang does hit those peasant bowmen quite nicely, but Lewin with his charge bonus active is going to be quite a bit for Tyrion to try and handle. Pops that Foe Seeker, try and refresh some vigor of himself. And, oh yeah, Questing Knights moving in to support. Grail Knights, or, sorry, the Phoenix Guard here, trying to get in a position also to help out, but thankfully Tyrion didn't take too much damage in that engagement. Definitely could have been worse. Let some heal on the Bretonnian side, keeping those Questing Knights going. And now the Trebuchets have a very nice, dense block of Phoenix Guard to fire into a basically point-blank range. So let's see if they actually take the opportunity to do so. Like a regrowth there on some Grail Knights out in the distance. There's still a good, almost half their unit models remaining, so a really good candidate for healing right now. The Vigor refresh, of course, is unfortunately lost on them, but yeah, Tyrion continuing to pursue here, trying to shut down this Trebuchet. Does have the Heart of Avalorn available, of course, still, but if he terror routes away, it's not going to matter too much. Ooh, he goes for it, though. He's going to pop feint and riposte, see if he can just finish off the damsel, get rid of the healing of Bretonnia. But in doing so, he overextends pretty far from any meaningful support. I mean, he's only got infantry left at this point anyway, kind of realizing that. Michael's going to run back, try and get to those Phoenix Guard. This will take some time to get through, so yeah. The Phoenix Guard, and to continue to defend. Oh yeah, the Heart of Averlorn, of course, popping as soon as Tyrion Terror outs, as his tale is as old as Elves, at least. He does come back from Terror Route relatively quickly, though, in this battle, which is nice to see. Maybe, maybe not. Yep, there he is. But even though he's basically heal capped, still taking a bunch of big hits from Lewin. And, yeah, some of the Phoenix Guard are able to actually continue helping. Some of the others there got a little bit of a misclick, I think, but still going to filter back in. Let's see. Tyrion, yeah, getting some attack animations. Both of them have equally bright swords. The mount difference is, of course, very key here. Lewin looking like he's getting some pretty good RNG. Oh, though Tyrion does respond with a few nice hits as well. But that one trebuchet also just goes and stands in the woods, and somehow this other one has ammunition left also. They could continue firing at this point, but Lewin maybe overcoming Tyrion here could lead to the High Elves potentially chain routing, but they're not done yet. I mean, High Elf leadership is very real. The peasants are starting to get real shaky, and Lewin doesn't have much in the way of support left, except this one unit of Grail Knights. That regrowth proving pretty clutch as they're able to stand in the fight here. But yeah, the remaining ammunition from the trebuchet, let's see, there's a couple shots land there. Standing ground is popped. Phoenix Guard are going to have most amount of melee defense ever. Basically, not quite, but very impressive, but no. Army losses kicks in as I accidentally smack my mic stand, and that will be a victory for Bretonnia. So appreciate Michael sending in losses, as he often does. Always appreciated for sure. And I do think switching the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower just right at the start onto trebuchets, had he been able to get the one unit down, even to like 1 unit model, then switch the other unit, get that down to like 2 1-unit model, I would have lessened the damage here substantially. It probably would have been pretty close at the end. It's possible. Efi, a pretty skilled player, definitely. Lewin might have been able to pull things out. Got 3,400 damage value on only 8,500 damage dealt, which means he is the one that took down Tyrion, basically, is what I see from that. Yeah, I got some damage on some high-value targets. I mean, there are quite a few expensive targets here. Both the Grail Knights performed quite well as well. 14,000 damage dealt, 2,500 gold value. It's pretty impressive, but honestly, the thing that impressed me most about this replay is definitely the performance of the trebuchets, just old, reliable, smacking away at elite infantry on a map where they can get some good arcs of fire. They have pretty decent arcs of fire overall. One pays for itself, the other one basically 2x pays for itself, 12,000 damage dealt, 145 kills against a very elite build. Impressive. Definitely impressive. I enjoy that. I always enjoy that. And just enjoy Bretonnia win in general. I enjoy someone sending in a loss. I enjoy Michael's replays. So thank you to him. Thank you to all of you for being here and watching. Thank you all so much. It's my absolute pleasure. And honestly, I do this because I love it. I always have, and I will continue to do so. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.